Hi, you're watching Dog-Eared Musings, and today I'm doing a book review on Annie Ernaux's novella, The Possession. Now, you might think, oh, Monika, you're wearing the same clothes as the last book review, and that is correct. I am bulk filming my videos because of things that are going on that I will let you know about later. Ooh, big YouTube secrets. Anyway, Annie Ernaux, The Possession. Let's talk about it. Divorce, or actually not divorce, but love, sadness, Frenchness stuff. So who is Annie Ernaux? Well, you can look at Wikipedia and see that she is a Nobel Prize winner, where she has won a prize for the courage and clinical acuity with which she uncovers the roots of estrangements and collective restraints of personal memory. So I guess in layman's terms, she won a Nobel Peace Prize for saying things bluntly and truly, which I guess as a Scorpio I can appreciate. Annie Ernaux blends autobiography with fiction to create kind of like autofiction, which is a term and which is kind of trendy now, even though she's been writing autofiction for a very long time. And where she really excels and why her work is so popular in corners of booktube is her reflections on feelings, as well as her sociological and psychological analysis on those feelings and the effects that they have on her unnamed characters. She does this all in order to kind of transgress boundaries, and you can see this in some of her transgressive lines that I can't read on YouTube because some of them are pretty transgressive. So what is The Possession about? So we follow a first-person narrator who is kind of just ended a love affair, and as she ends her love affair, she learns that her paramour, I don't know if I'm using that word right, but her dude who she was with tells her, hey, glad that this is over, there's a new lady in town. And she begins to spiral, and she is wondering who this person is, what she looks like, what her deal is. And this book is kind of a rumination on who this woman is and kind of how she fits in her ex-lover's life, and if she's kind of a better fit than she was. I loved this book. I think that it was a perfect conversation piece, and I think a lot of people read this in a conversation piece. Elena Ferrante's novel Days of Abandonment. But we'll talk a little bit about where people might find a kind of con. Again, this wasn't a con for me as a reader, but if you are somebody who is driven towards more plot-driven narratives, this might be a book that you want to stay away from, as this is more of a book that's all vibes, no plot, just feelings. But where I may play devil's advocate is this book is a novella. It's very short. You can read it in like under half an hour if you're a speed reader. So if you're someone who wants to give a character study a try, this might actually be a perfect book for you to pick up to kind of see how you're feeling in terms of reading books about feelings. But what were the pros? I mean, maybe it's kind of silly to review an author who's won a Nobel Prize on writing, but we're gonna do it since this is my channel. And if you have problems about it, please don't come at me in the comments because I am sensitive and fragile. I feel like reading this book felt like talking to a friend on Zoom or FaceTime as they like kind of spiral out, and there is kind of a universality to how Ernaux talks, which I think is also similar to Ferrante's writing, especially with Days of Abandonment, where you kind of end up shaking your head in agreement, or I guess nodding your head in agreement, even though you're also kind of being like, oh gosh, oh no, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, because you also kind of might have gone through, unfortunately, a similar experience or felt the same feelings. And I think that's where Ernaux kind of works so well is there is a individual experience that's written in a way that is and feels very universal. Although I joke, it does kind of feel like it is justice for everybody who has insta-stalked their ex-person's Instagram to kind of find out answers on their ex's new person. It has that kind of same flavor of you're hanging out with your best friends at home and you're all around a computer kind of looking at that image and creating hypothetical situations about who that person is. And there is something helpful in that, but also not so helpful in it. And I think where it is great for a reader is there isn't any like morality tale in what is wrong or what is good about it. It just exists. And as a reader, you can kind of sit in those feelings too. I think ultimately what I really loved about this book, and maybe this is just my experience reading the book, is you don't hate the other woman and you're not really expected to hate the other woman. I mean, you are kind of driven a little bit wild about like who she is and who she could be and where she is. And there's a lot of pages where you think you're running into this new person, but then she's not this person. But you don't hate her. You never hate her. It's mostly like just a constant like need for answers. So what are some read-alikes? Like I said before, Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante, which I think a lot of people have kind of mentioned as a good book that pairs well in conversation. These are certainly not the same book, but I think that they are books that kind of communicate similar things in kind of different ways and different flavors. I think if I was teaching a class, they would be fun books to pair together. Now, I was also thinking about how this kind of fits with music, and I was thinking about the Natalie Imbruglia song, Torn, which I think for some reason I kept on thinking about that song while reading this book, as well as Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You. I think that any breakup song pairs well, but those are two songs that I was thinking about while reading this book. And I guess if you have a better breakup anthem that you think goes well with Ernaux, feel free to put them in the chat below. Again, a little silly to review someone who has won a Nobel Prize, but here I am, and I read it, so there you go. I'm Monika. You've been watching Dog Ear Musings. Happy reading.